everybody. Gerone Wright here again, and once again, you're joining me on my Geronification channel. Okay, what you're looking at is an excerpt page drawing from that of the supposed lost book of Nostradamus. Okay, this is, I guess, it can be considered Renaissance art that actually is dated back to maybe the late or early 14th century. Okay, these drawings from this book, which is reported to be the Lost Book of Nostradamus, have seemed to baffle everyone in their meaning and what's actually supposed to be meant by the messages that are actually shown. In this particular image, we have a monk, okay, with a sickle. And as you see, the monk has the sickle turned back in on his own head there, okay, which all has a symbolic meaning. All right, it's my position that all of the Renaissance artwork, including biblical and non-biblical, are all referencing an underlying message which indicates how mankind was genetically bridged over and spliced into, and how they, like in a cult, like a ritual way, spliced into their own genes. And this is what this monk image is signifying, that he's been spliced. He spliced himself genetically sacrificed himself in order to overcome an ancient gene, an ancient genetic that stems back to our ape and African ancestry, which later calls for different likenesses of mankind, which included the Asian world and European, and then later, to our Caucasian counterparts, the lighter versions of these apes and Africans. And there is a record, such a process that I'm describing of genetic manipulation and contamination of mankind's genes requires a massive record. And this operation, on the scale that it was, it should be no surprise to everyone that there is a record, and the record has always been there in our face and is hidden in the artwork. And the artwork describes everything in which actually had taken place during the time that it had taken place and who knew about it. But what I find to be more disturbing about all of this is the fact that there are records that detail who we are, who our ancestors were, and all of these possibilities that derive from this, as far as how mankind subsequently evolved. There's medicines, there's knowledge as to what could possibly, like in so much as far as cures for cancer, cures for AIDS. All of these things derived and happened and occurred through the genetic bridging, and that is actually right there embedded in that of all religion globally of our world. And it's my position that this is an outrage. It's crimes against humanity in the worst way that you can possibly ever imagine. Because what is wrong with you today can be linked to what has occurred through genetic bridging and contamination through these people that pass themselves off as being the holiest people on our planet, Sullivan, and free of all evil, but yet they're the root of it all. I'm going to show you something. I don't want to rant on about my personal views about all of this, but you should be angry. You know what I mean? Because there was this I forget the sister's name. I have a video here. My sister Karina or Coretta or something like that there, where she's confessed about what was going on in the monastery, and how bishops were coming and taking turn raping the nuns and all of that. It was Confession of a Nun. I have the video here. I don't know if it's Karina, something like that there. And she released her own video, and then I added to why she was actually telling the truth. It's my position through my paranormal experience and encounter that these guys who we believe are remaining celibate, not having sex, not doing anything evil or anything at all. It's my position that it's always been my position. If you look at my videos, I have 200 plus videos here, is that these guys are having sex not only amongst themselves, and it's a cult-like ritual that calls for them having sex with their colleagues amongst themselves, okay, and having sex with the virgins, which are the nuns. And through all of these acts, what is happening is these miracle babies are being produced, and it's my position that they can't claim these children. So the ones, and they're sorting through these babies, the good, it's almost like the good, the bad, the ugly thing, where they're sorting through these babies, and which this nun described in her video that in this monastery where she was delivering these babies, in this infirmary that was linked to the monastery where nuns were delivering these babies, they said that the mother would come in and place her finger, look at the baby, and then place her fingers over the nose and the mouth of the baby to smother the baby out. It's my position that had that baby, because the nun and this mother knew what to look for in these babies. They're looking for these miracle babies, such as the Jesus baby, miracle babies, or the Giovannis. Those type of babies they're looking for, and then once it's determined that this is the child that they created through this genetic manipulation and bridging, because that's what's happening. Okay, people, let's keep in mind that this is in reality what is happening. Then this baby would be allowed to be passed off. Who did this baby get passed off to? This baby gets passed off to the either an orphanage, in my mind, and then protected under the guise of religion, okay, until it is then brought back into the monastery as a child that was orphaned. It doesn't have a mother, and or sent off to royalty, kings and queens. And this baby pops through as being a royal baby. This is what is going on, and I'm just want to show you what's happening here with this Nostradamus image here before I get lost off track here, because I'm trying to cover too much when basically all I want to do is describe what's being said here in this image. Okay, this is a famous image from the Lost Book of Nostradamus. I guess this here is highlighting what is actually here in the original image. Okay, now when I printed this out, there's a cutoff here. You can see this guy's boots here. He's wearing black boots. Like, there's a leg here. You see the leg cut off, and then there's these bar-like things, which I'm going to bring up to you and show you what they are. And to this day, I don't think that nobody has actually identified. You see that right there? You see this right here, this device right there? And then there's the leg, and this is what is cut off from the bottom of the picture here. You see that? No one to date has identified what is being stated here. Why would this monk be holding a sickle, showing you a cut off leg, and then this device that is over here on the side there, which is actually, I showed you. Well, no one has read this image. It's my position that this sickle illustrates that this monk is showing you that he genetically spliced himself. What did he splice himself with? Ancient genetics. So now all I have to do is show you the genetics that he's actually referring to. But first, let me take you to these objects, which nobody has never identified. Never. You never heard anybody say anything about what is going here. At least to my knowledge, I never heard anyone state anything about these objects right here and this monk holding a sickle. Let me show you First of all, what this monk is stating. You have a leg and you have irons. Together, they create leg irons, restraints. Leg irons. You Google leg irons from that era, and this is what we come up with. These are the objects right there. Medieval leg irons. You see that? That is what is on the ground right there. Leg irons. First time ever heard. Now that I got your attention, let me show you something else about this image. It's my position that these monks are having sex with each other in a cult-like ritual, homosexual acts, which includes sharing of blood and semen. Then, through a genetic cycling process, a period of time, these genes, these hormones, after manifesting within themselves, they go over to the monastery where the nuns are kept, and they engage sexual acts with them that include blood exchanges and semen exchanges. And this process is an ancient cult-like ritual that has been going on since the creation of man, and beyond the creation of man, in which I can link us to as well too. And what happens is they discovered that these rituals, through these rituals, that the breakdown of genes can actually be achieved. Which genes are we talking about breaking down? Well, I have highlights I'm going to show you here. It's always about the ape and about the African, because this is where all man, this likeness originated from likenesses like this and darker, as you see in my arm of color there that I just actually put out. So this is what it's always been about, the breakdown of those genes. Okay, now in this sleeve over here, you will see a likeness of a monkey. Alright, I see several likenesses of a monkey. I'm going to give you one there. There's the eye, and this would create the mouth, the monkey facing out this way. I'm going to give you the second likeness. In fact, I'm going to give you everything in totality as what is actually there. There's a monkey right there, and then also on the sleeve is a nose and an eye and a mouth. It shows you on the monkey's nose there's an image of another man. They're multi-dimensional images. Then I'm going to give you everything together. See if you can pick up on a lot of these things that are actually here. Now, check this out. There's the second image of the monkey, which is right here. There's an ape right there. A distorted image of an ape. But that's a far stretch of the imagination, because as clear as I can see this, I know that you cannot see it that clear. I have a multi-dimensional sense of vision and a multi-dimensional sense of awareness. I also see a face here, facing down, and this is what this is all about. You ever heard about how a person is wearing their their attitude or their feelings on their sleeve. Well, Renaissance artists is showing us that the genetics of these beings are being worn on their sleeves. And through most of the images there in the Lost Book of Nostradamus, they utilize the hair, the face, and the clothing to depict these underlying images. Now, let me show you something here. There's an ape, or apes here, multi-dimensional faces of apes right there. Here, where this is supposed to be a cluster of red roses or flowers, or a specific flower, that's maybe not so much roses, there's an image of a cat there, which I will show you. In his hand, the monk's hand, the way the hand of the monk is actually squeezed together, it creates the head of a horse. Then we come over here, there is a skull. There's the open mouth, there's the sockets, and then there's the head of the skull, and then here, there is a serpent right there. Now, I'm going to bring you the cat and the horse first, which I have highlighted for you. I'm going to bring it in. The wrong way, of course. Let's turn it back this way. There is our cat, and there is our horse. You know what they are stating, people? That on this side of this monk, a process took place with a breakdown of the genes of this ape. The cat's blood, which is indicated by that of red, and the horse semen, which is indicated by that of red, were together. A cross-contamination of those genes were created, and through the monk, the ape side, genetically, the blackness in this monk had been broken down further through the process that had already previously happened almost 500 or 600 years previous than that, and I can show you how that occurred as well too. So let's go through this once again. The indication of the horse, which is white, semen was utilized with the blood of the cat, as you can see here, as indicated red. See the cat, they gave the cat horns, indicator of the blood. In a combination was interjected into this monk, which broke down his black or African originating genes to attack the genes, the blackness that was in this monk during that time. Now, I'm going to show you what that looks like without my highlights. See if you still see that cat and the horse, and see that I did not do much to show you the horse and the cat. This is without my highlights. This is with my highlights. Again, this is without my highlights, and this is with my highlights. Now, let me continue, after I straighten this up, of course, with what's going on. I'm gonna bring the nun in as well too. Now, the looping sickle is telling us that this monk was spliced, and as a result, genes were cut out of his body. Which genes? That on this side, his black side, his ape side, his originating genes of his black ancestor. Shows you coming through his body, through a genetic process, those genes laid dormant. And through death and resurrection, a new gene emerges. Now, if you notice here, there's a skull. That skull is of a monkey, showing you where these genes were alive and thriving at one point in his body, now came to lay dormant, and the new genes, subsequently, that are created, are now being manifested in this monk's body. Shows you that the genes that were manifested shows you where they're going through the serpent, which is reptilians, which is another genetic bridging process, shown there, and there's a serpent there, people. You look in the sleeve, there's a serpent there, and it's green. The mouth, and all, encrypted in the clothing, of course, but there's the skull, the monkey skull. And then the sickle comes back around and loops back around. Now, what is being suggested? I got to show you the nun, so stay with me, bear with me, people, because we got to give you the nun. So he's stating now that through this process, he was genetically freed. His leg irons have been removed. His leg irons have been removed because he's of a genetic splicing of which he bridged himself and spliced these genes out of his body. Which genes? His ape ancestor, his African ancestor. They overcame those genes genetically, and now they're laid to rest dormant. Death and resurrection. What's being resurrected? Well, through the help of the nuns. Let me give you a nun. And I draw this out too, by the way, for you people. Here's the, you see that? Leg irons. Alright, now, I promised you a nun. You can't see the nun there, can you? You see my words written there that says nun? Look at this guy's face. There's actually multi-dimensional images. I can show you a woman's face here, in this half of his face. See how the nose is discombobulated? Look at this, people. See how this eye is full, but this eye is discombobulated? Look at his, even his nose is discombobulated. Let me bring that in a little bit closer for you. Notice how this side of the face looks disproportioned. Like if this guy has Bell palsy or something happened, he had a stroke, and this side of the muscle in his face, on this side of the face looks normal, but this side of the face looks discombobulated. There's actually a face right here, right there, because these are multi-dimensional faces. It shows you the transition and the breakdown of these genes, the process. But let me show you the most compelling face of them all, which is that of the nun. If you take the image and twist it in this direction, the nun appears in his head. That eye, that discombobulated eye of this monk, is actually the mouth of a female. His discombobulated nose creates the pointed nose of that witch-like woman who I dub as the mother of creation, Madonna. And the preserved genes of this being, which is in nun monasteries, where these genes are being manifested, altered, and spread out to contaminate other portions of our world. There's the forehead. This monk's headband creates the nun's hoodie or hood. The sickle coming in shows you the splicing and shows you what was brung in, and bang, this guy is genetically altered. That's the indication. And that's why this sickle is shown coming back and on this monk's head. Now, for those of you that find this incredible to believe, then let me hear a scholar or scholars or our world's leading experts in paintings or in artwork describe this better than I've just had. Describe why, until now, this has not been known, leg irons. Why this monk has a sickle turned back in on his head. Why there is a skull right here. Why there are multiple images of apes and witch-like woman right here. Why there is an encrypted horse's head here. An encrypted slash lion's, tiger, an alien-looking head right here. And multiple dimensional faces encrypted in the face of that of the monk. You know why? It's because I'm on point. Through my paranormal experience and encounter, I have developed a sense of awareness that allows me to see and experience that in the sense of what these artists were describing in their artworks. It is as if I created this drawing myself. It does not take me all of about a few minutes, if that at the most, to gaze upon such art, if you want to call it that, if you will, that I am automatically drawn to everything else that is being stated through this image. Let me see if I can draw that face out for you. The other face that I actually see here. I can see it perfectly like that there. Looking at it upside down, I don't think that I'm going to be able to get it like that. We already know that. And oh yeah, there's other faces up here. I'm going to show you the other faces up there. I wanted to draw this woman's face. Let me see if I can do it backwards right quick. I'm going to come around the chin. I know I'm going to screw this up. Alright, I see where I'm at, but it comes like, oh gosh, I can't get it from this way, from this angle, people. I can't get it, but there is, the face separates there as well too. Let me see. It's like half of this face over here is that of a woman, and then the other half is the monk's face, looking this way. So the face is actually split, but I'm going to try to, oh, maybe I got it there. And there's the mouth there. Can I get that? You see what I tried to actually do? I can see another face there, people. And there's going up the nose. But check this out. I'm going to show you two other faces. And this face is split, looking that way. So the monk's face is split. Then, that's one female's face. Then the next one is actually the monk. It shows you the breakdown of these genetics in the face. I'm going to show you some more faces actually. It's actually a total of, that was one. Where's the nun's face? Let me give you the nun's face first. It's a total of 4 female faces in multi-dimensional sense in the monk's face. There's the nun's face. That's a clear indication of the nun's face. The witch-like woman, the mother of creation, and her hoodie on her head, the covering, which is actually the band of the monk as well too, showing you that their genes are banded together. You see that? A unity of genes. Banded together, heads banded together. You see that? The nun's head and the monk's head. 2 supposedly being virgins. Now, what happens with these genes? I'm going to take a little bit more minute. Now, imagine this guy amongst his monk colleagues, his monk monastery, engage in homosexual acts, which include the drinking and interactions of their blood, intermingling of blood and semen amongst these men from different nations and procured bloodlines, which include kings and queens. He's doing his thing here for a specific amount of time. Okay, let's say 15, 20 years, he's doing his thing. Then we have the nun in the female monastery. Now he's amongst his male colleagues. Then you have this being the nun, the mother, the virgins, doing their thing amongst the females, the lesbian acts. Then they come together, and she's doing her thing for about, let's say, 10, 15, 20 years. Now, they're both genetically contaminated with the couple of hundreds, maybe 300 or 400 of males that he done engaged homosexually. She's the same scenario. So now these contamination of these genes, this is how they strengthen these genes within their bodies. Through these acts, people, these cult-like rituals which engages sexual acts. Now, he's full of male hormones and genetics. She's full of female hormones and genetics. Now they engage each other. This is how these beings found the way to get away from that of their African likenesses, their ape likenesses, and of course through the help of these creatures, which included horses, lions, and I like to say tigers and bears, oh my, as stealing that line, punchline from that of the Wizard of Oz. It's my position that through a cross-referencing of mankind's genes, which included themselves genetically, and that through the help of animals, that these beings were able to genetically manipulate and alter themselves from the genetics that had them closer to that of their ape ancestors. And this is how we got from our darkest, our blackest of being, which included that of monkey. Let me bring this. And this is how we got from our blackest of being to our whitest in color of being and pigmentations. And this is what this is all about. Every part of the lost book of Nostradamus, I can do the same exact thing to. So, all of those, I think the book is, what, 400 years old, they say? So, scholars throughout, people have died. I went to their deathbeds trying to figure out how to read this image. Not just this one, the many other images that are in the lost book of Nostradamus. And here you have an individual that's claiming to have had a paranormal experience and encounter come to you and give you full detail of what is being stated through this image. This monk is telling you that he is genetically free, genetically spliced from, genetically separated from his ape, his African ancestor. And he's showing you through the process that he underwent in order to do so. And in doing so, the ape, which was live and thriving once in a portion of his body, and half of his body, has now been laid to rest. He's showing you that there was an extraction, and now he's ran these genes back into himself through the help of their cult-like process, which included nuns. I can tell you which gene is being referenced. I can tell you which all of these genes are being referenced. You know why? because I have the key and the understanding and realization to who we are genetically. These people are guilty as charged. These people who you think are pure and holy are nothing more than genetic manipulators and cross-contaminators of mankind's genes. It's my position, and it's always been my position, that even though they can't tell you what the cross means, I can tell you that the cross represents the cross-referencing of mankind's genes, genetics. So, having said all of that, I hope that when you look at this for what it truly is, and now too, people, you can look at the rest of these images. I have another video here about the lost book of Nostradamus and the images contained therein. There are images which include the Pope, and I can do the same exact thing with it. It shows you, people, that you have been had. You have been had. And everybody that is promised these places in heaven, this discussion of hell, all of these different things which were designed to blindside you, make you afraid, deter you from seeing the truth, which have worked up until this point, has really been a deceiving device which has worked against you. Worked against you because you didn't see the truth and reality in what is before you. It's not just the images, people. This is everything around us. Me, this was something that I learned from first. Before there was this, I could see everything. I see this easily because I went to the grassroots of everything before seeing this. I could see images in cloud mounted in space. I can see images on the side of rock, of ancient mountains, like in that of the Grand Canyon. Yeah, you know, and in South Dakota, needles. Look at my videos, people. All of that is what allows me to make child's play of this stuff here. So, consider this decoded, because I can read the entire book of the lost book of Nostradamus, which is 400 plus years older, or maybe even older. And people have sacrificed their entire life trying to read and understand this. And here you have a guy in this day and age explaining in full detail what is being stated. Not just in the surfacing images that are out there, but in the underlining, the hidden images. All of these images in totality. I'm giving you females included along with male images. They couldn't put no none in here. That would raise red flags. That would be inappropriate. This guy is not supposed to be coupled with a woman, but yet the artist knew that, and he encrypted the nun in the head of this guy. And then this is the reason why when you look at his face, you see the discombobulation in the half of his face over here. It's the same encrypted style that most of our Renaissance artists used or utilized. It's the use of multidimensional images in one. It's a message that's being stated in an overall scenario. It's a code that I have cracked. My name is Gerone Wright. You're watching my Geronification channel. You can also see where it all unfolded at on my Alien UFO site. There is the forum of Dreams and Experiences, and my title there for my forum is I am a alien and so are you. or you could just pretty much just Google and it would actually come up. Thank you. I appreciate you for watching, and again, just link me to other friends and family, and hopefully one day I will go viral for this. Thank you.